Pat, this weekend Jimmy Butler had said, if he was healthy, that Boston would have gone home.
If you're not on the court, you should keep your mouth shut.
Is there trouble brewing in Miami? With Jimmy Butler on the Miami Heat, there's no question that team is a title contender. For the past 5 years, Jimmy Buckets has led the Heat to the NBA Finals twice and made it as far as the Eastern Conference Finals a third time. The other 2 times, they've been first-round exits. But one thing remains true. Jimmy is a playoff riser, and with him on the roster, the Heat have made the playoffs every single season. Unfortunately, it seems those days may be coming to an end. Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Switch Culture. Despite the playoff success the Miami Heat have found with Jimmy Butler, it might be time to part ways. Jimmy Butler is coming close to the end of his contract and is looking for a max extension with the Heat. However, Miami might not be interested in handicapping themselves to stick with a formula that hasn't worked and are currently evaluating whether or not it would be worth it. After failing to land a trade with Portland for Damian Lillard, it couldn't have been any more obvious. Let's face it, as much as they've had playoff success each year, it could easily be argued that those successes were failures. After all, they didn't win a championship despite multiple finals appearances. Add to that the waning reliability of Jimmy Butler with injury concerns and him getting to be among the older players in the league, it might be time for Miami to refresh the roster. An extension would turn the current 2 years left on Butler's contract into a 3-year deal worth $161.7 million. With Jimmy Buckets set to make over $48 million next season, Butler is seeking a $113 million 2-year extension for the following 2 years. The Heat, however, might decide to save some cash in getting a younger player closer to Bam and Hero who might be able to form a core that could provide the team with as much success now with the opportunity for growth later on down the road. Enter the Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors. What could these teams offer the Heat to land Jimmy Butler, and who would it make sense for? Be sure to watch the whole video for the answer, but before that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Swish Culture for the most analytical and entertaining NBA content on the planet. Now get ready. You're about to get Is there beef between the Miami Heat front office and their superstar Jimmy Butler? The Miami Heat never let anything leave their front office, but reading between the lines can give away a lot more than what players and representatives are willing to let on. If you recall, Jimmy Butler was not available for the Heat during the season's playoffs. He was injured and only played 57 games this season and was totally absent for the postseason. Now injuries happen, not a whole lot you can do about it. But obviously the front office isn't going to be happy about their star player not being available for the playoffs. Things unfolded in interesting fashion for the Heat, however, as Jimmy Butler was calling out the Knicks and Celtics while being unable to participate. During an interview with Rock the Bells, Butler stated that if he was playing, the Knicks would be home and the Celtics would be home, implying his availability is the difference between the Heat being a competitive team or not. This obviously didn't sit well with Pat Riley, who roasted Jimmy Butler following those comments, stating,
for him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut.
Boom, pow.
Now, while this could easily be dismissed as Pat Riley just being direct in his response to a question, let's take a look at the facts. Jimmy Butler has said that he wants to spend the rest of his career with the Miami Heat. He's been very committed in the public eye, at least from his statements. Now, if the Heat are giving him a max extension, of course this is true. But that is the caveat, isn't it? This is a bit of a good cop, bad cop scenario where, on the one hand, to avoid fines and negative attention, he states publicly how much he loves and wants to remain with the team. But on the other, in negotiations in private, he's driving a hard bargain that's causing the team to sour on the proposal. How do we know they've soured on the proposal? Well, along with what I've mentioned before, this max extension would further handicap the Heat from being able to sign additional superstar talent that the team needs to win. And with Jimmy not appearing in a single playoff game this season, it's hard to make an argument for signing the aging and oft-injured star to such a lucrative contract. In other words, if they sign Jimmy to this contract, the Heat will be unable to compete until after his contract expires or he gets traded to another team. The soonest he can get traded, that would be this summer, where Miami can avoid offering him an extension and let some other team take the hit. According to the Miami Herald, Butler's camp wants that extension offer done this offseason, which means he's either going to get it from Miami or he'll look to get it somewhere else. If they don't offer him that extension, the Heat will likely get Minnesota Jimmy.
Who wants to die today?
Oh, that must be him now.
Cat, do something! I hope that means you worked on your defense. Hallelujah, Wiggins. Should I send your bones to your brother? Yes, please, no! You need me!
For a year, and they'd still win nothing. The 76ers have shown interest in acquiring the Miami Heat superstar, as they had him for one season in 2018 to 2019. They seem to have regretted letting Butler go to the Heat back then and are currently in need of a third star to play alongside Embiid and Maxey. They've gone as far as to say that they would be willing to offer Jimmy Butler the max extension if they were to sign him. However, their number one target remains Paul George. Considering the Clippers' failures the past few years, PG-13 will likely look to sign elsewhere. If the Sixers are unable to lure him, they'd likely have to include a third team in a trade in order to compensate Miami with enough return for a Butler trade. Tobias Harris, Buddy Hield, and picks probably won't get the job done, so they're better off using that cap space to sign Paul George, who will likely decline his player option this summer. Of course, Jimmy could choose to go elsewhere. One other team that could give the Heat good value for Jimmy are the Golden State Warriors. If the Warriors could get even one healthy season out of Butler, it might be enough. The sooner, however, the better, as Steph Curry's window has begun closing. This, of course, being the primary motivation for any moves this offseason, it behooves the Warriors to make a move if Jimmy is available. The Warriors actually aren't asleep on a potential move for Butler, however, as Anthony Slater, NBA insider of The Athletic, has come out and said that he expects the Warriors to make a move if Jimmy does in fact become available. What do the Warriors have to offer the Heat that would make the Heat salivate at a trade? Oh, that's very easy. The Heat would want no less than Jonathan Kuminga. They'd probably like to add Brandon Podziemski and would take on salary filler in Chris Paul, as well as a future first-round pick. The Warriors need to trade away at least $45 million in salary to the Heat for the trade to work out financially. While it may look like a crazy amount to pay an aging player, if the Warriors believe Jimmy can help them, it's only a little bit different than they would have keeping both Kuminga and Moody and giving them fair offers. So, as it's been for the Warriors the past couple of years, do they believe they can get enough from Kuminga to warrant his upcoming contract extension, or should they avoid extending him and pick up a star to help the Big Three to win at least one more championship before retirement? At the end of the day, it's a business, and if they decide to trade for Butler, it could be the smartest or the dumbest trade the Warriors make in recent years. The jury is still out on the Wiseman for GP2 trade, as neither the Pistons nor the Warriors have benefited much from that particular trade at this point. This trade scenario might result in a few more trade shakeups as well, because paying Wiggins $25 million to come off the bench is infeasible. He could certainly play the two while Clay comes off the bench. However, it would be in the best interest of the Warriors to see what they could get for Wiggins in that case. It'll be very tough for the Dubs to move on from him without Kuminga, so a team would have to believe in a player like Moody in order to take Wiggins as salary filler, so the Warriors could invest in a free agent two-guard that could play alongside Curry, Jimmy, Draymond, and Trace. As it stands, the team hasn't worked anything out with Klay Thompson, so that is still up in the air. If they do decide to keep Klay, they could always go for some additional size at the 5, something Kerr pined about at the end of the season. Now, while Steve has been a champion for small ball and sat his centers when it was clear at times they needed to be on the floor, one of his complaints, or realizations, was that the team needed to get a 7-footer in the lineup. Considering how the Timberwolves are playing, they might have a shot at grabbing an overpaid Gobert next season. At this rate, how about hiring Darvin Ham for assistant coach? Oh, it seems like they're already on it. Let me know your thoughts about the Warriors trading for Jimmy Butler. Post your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all your notifications so you don't miss any of my latest uploads. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish!